What's going on, guys? Welcome to Dime Dropper, episode 63 of our 24-minute recaps. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe on all platforms at YouTube at Dime Dropper Podcast, Apple Podcasts. Make sure to leave a review if you'd like. Spotify, of course, to follow us on all social media platforms at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dime Dropper Pod. I just posted a thread on the 67-68 season, starting it, because I'm about to finish that year, and we are very close to finishing the 60s before I release my first Diamond Dropper Time Machine video, where we start getting into breaking down footage as I continue my journey about the history of the game. Let's talk about tonight's game. The Clippers, my Clips, looking for their third consecutive win, playing against the team that we lost to earlier in the year in January, the San Antonio Spurs, a team that I had fairly low in my season preview and have really surprised a lot of people, including myself, but have started to tail off as the season's gone on. And I really hope they don't make the playoffs just because I just don't find any interest in them, and they've had their time. And tonight, again, the Clippers coming out with that energy, that intensity that we love to see. And what did I say after we lost to Dallas? Again, I said we have the one positive is that Paul George and Kawhi have been playing together, and you need that chemistry, that continuity. Despite the fact that we don't have Pat Bev, having our two best players on the court consecutively was a big problem before the All-Star break. Remember, we lost the Boston game, we lost Sacramento game, and to have them both back in a consecutive run of games is huge. And so when we had that Charlotte game, it's a good chance to get a little streak going. You get that game, you get the huge win against Atlanta, and that's kind of a total momentum changer. The Spurs didn't have a chance today, and I think it's because of Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, these last three games, has been on a different planet defensively. I've been saying this since the glorified summer league, but when Kawhi's engaged defensively to start games, he's a different player altogether. It's like his leadership of the game changes, the way he moves on offense changes, and Kawhi was turning that corner and hitting people with a burst today. Not necessarily taking guys off the bounce one-on-one as much, but at least off screens. And occasionally he actually did get one-on-one where he did get by a guy and rose up with authority. So I don't know what's been going on. Maybe he was well rested after that All-Star break, or maybe it's because we're just winning by so much. But Kawhi's effort, he was in the passing lanes. And you know what? A lot of people were saying Paul George is struggling tonight. I didn't really think he was struggling that much. 8 of 18, and his defense was really good, and I thought he was making the right reads. And, our guys, Kawhi and Paul, were just turning the corner, kicking it out, and I thought that guys like Reggie Jackson were making extra passes. Again, Marcus Morris Sr., how good was he again tonight? Hitting his open threes, Reggie Jackson making those extra passes, and Sr. knocking them down. How good has he been for the Clippers this season? Marcus Morris Sr., 20 points, 7 of 12 on the field. Another great night, 5 of 7 from 3. Absolutely lights out for Sr. But Kawhi, he was getting doubled in the post, and they were loading up on him in the post, and these were just creating good shots. Reggie Jackson, I thought, was very solid as well. He didn't turn the ball over one time, and that's what I like to see. He only played 18 minutes, but he had 9 points on 3 of 6 from the field and 2 of 3 from 3. Our first quarter, we were just electric. And Ivica Zubac, again, just standing his ground, contesting shots in the mid-range floater area. The Spurs didn't have a lob threat. They don't have that athleticism like that. Jakob Poeltl is very athletically similar to Zoo, so he doesn't have any distinct advantage over Zoo. And I thought that we did a good job of defending guys like Keldon Johnson, DeJounte Murray in that floater area. And that starts with Kawhi and Paul George fighting over screens. You know what I'm saying? And they did that tonight. And I really enjoyed that. If it's just Zubac, though, and, putting a hand up and just being a presence down low, being a presence rolling to the basket and finishing around the basket. The guy did not miss tonight. He had 14 points on 5 of 5 from the field and 8 rebounds. And he had 80% of his free throws, 4 of 5 to be exact. It was awesome. He had the highest plus-minus of any starter, plus 27, and he played 32 minutes. We want to see Zoo playing over 30 minutes. It's a no-brainer at this point that Zubac needs to continue to be in the starting lineup, and Serge needs to go back to the bench like he was with Toronto, because Zoo is a completely different player in the starting lineup, and he's really revitalized his season and looking like the person I thought was going to be most improved before the season started, because I thought he was going to get more minutes. But because of the initial put in Serge to spread the floor idea by Ty, it hasn't been the smoothest road for Zoo. However, he's been playing phenomenal basketball lately. The first quarter in general for the Clippers was great. We were up 41-29. Second quarter was a lot more even. Like DeMar DeRozan was doing a really good job getting in those mid-range areas, and Kawhi did a really good job on him. DeRozan was only 7 of 18, but it did feel like he was making a lot of those tough mid-ranges coming off those screens, and there's not much you can do about him. You just got to put a hand up. But we were very in control, and in the third quarter, we didn't let our foot off the gas. That's one thing I loved seeing us do tonight. We did not take our foot off the gas at all. We stayed the course. We didn't let the Spurs get within 6 or 5. We put it right back up to double digits, and we stayed the course. No choking, no losing the lead, never a doubt. And you got to love that. And somebody who I thought contributed greatly today, I've been talking about his shooting being poor lately, Nick Batum. He did all his things he does defensively. Great defense, blocking shots around the basket. He had multiple blocks tonight, great blocks. Let's see. Yeah, 2 blocks, 4 assists as well, but just knocking down the open shot. 13 points for Nick Batum, 3 of 5 from the field, 3 of 4 from the 3, and he even got to the line 5 times and made him 4 times. Paul George did a great job snaking through the screens in the second half. He even had a beautiful turnaround over the right shoulder from the left side. He was just playing very smoothly, playing at a great pace, and having his hand active in the passing lanes. And I really enjoyed that. Nick Batum also had a good, hustling over a screen and just putting a hand up, affecting shots. And I thought Lou Williams was good today as well. Lou Williams, got into the lane. He was hitting his pull-up jumper. Even those, those shots where he pump fakes and the guy just doesn't want to bite because he's so good at leading in, and he just hits the shot anyway. And he made some nice passes. One really nice one to Terrence Mann, who, again, was just very solid, did his job well. 25 minutes for Terrence, 7 points on 3 of 8 from the field, 7 boards, plus 18 on the court. Lou Williams, 16 points on 6 of 12. He was much better tonight. And overall, just a very good performance to the Clippers. It was very comfortable. Kennard, 12 minutes. Again, I would have liked to see him get a little more. I don't want to keep saying that. But all that matters is the victory. 134-101. No LaMarcus Aldridge, who really hurt us last time we played these guys. No Rudy Gay, who also was very good last time we played these guys. So a great win for the Clips. 3 wins in a row, guys. This is awesome. The Suns, another one of our dime dropper teams, lost to the Magic tonight. I did not see the game. I may watch like an extended version of the highlights to see why they lost. But at the same time, I really don't care much because that gets us one step closer to that second seed. And moving on up is all we got to do. By the way, so the Clippers, 3 wins in a row. We move on to 29-16. And I love what I'm seeing right now. The Spurs, 22-19. But let's move on to a game yesterday. Just very briefly, I wanted to talk about it. The Lakers and the Pelicans. The Lakers started out okay. They only down by 3 after the first. But after that, their offense just showed how poor it can be. And am I surprised? What did I say in LeBron teams? They're so reliant on him controlling things. Take him out. In fairness to LeBron, though, in fairness to the Lakers, it's not just LeBron. It's Anthony Davis and LeBron, which is huge. You can't expect to take those 2 out, win games like that. The Clippers have been able to do it, but we don't play with, LeBron is just such a dominating force, and I don't know if having Dennis Schroeder as your best player is going to win you games against great opposition. I think the Pelicans, we got our asses kicked by the Pelicans, and the Suns are not an easy team either. So the Lakers haven't really played any games that I think they should have won without LeBron in them. But seeing how careless they are with the ball and how many times they turn the ball, just in general, and their defense just looks sus. They don't really have the same leadership. But, yeah, I don't know. And Marc Gasol's out, too. It's not just LeBron and Anthony Davis. It's Marc Gasol, too. So the Lakers really, they just need to find a way to stay afloat because Denver's coming. Portland's coming. They're right on their backs. And it's a very crucial stretch right here for the Lakers. So we'll see what happens for them. But I was very impressed with Zion and Brandon Ingram yesterday. They were just incredible. Zion bringing up the ball and just shows some nice moves, man. Like just at the top of the key, getting the step on guy. You need to throw 2 bodies at him, and he's got a decent passing ability as well. Brandon Ingram doing it to his old team too. 36 points on 66% shooting. But who else? The Celtics. I didn't do any review on their game against Memphis because Tatum didn't play. He was sick, apparently. He played tonight. The guy's just not really been the same since his contact tracing coronavirus stuff. But yeah, I just, I posted a tweet the other day that Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kemba Walker haven't even played 3 consecutive games all season. So when we talk about continuity for teams like the Clippers, a team like the Celtics has really suffered from that as well. I mean, that's not an excuse. They still have enough talent to be winning the games that they've been losing, and we've talked about all their flaws all season. And I think their stars have really, especially Tatum and Jaylen, have tailed off since the beginning of the season with all the little. I mean, Jalen's been load managed some games, which is no good. Jason Tatum usually plays, but he's at contact tracing and an illness the other day. It's just they've been hard to stay on the court, and it's very much a struggle. And again, they lost tonight, I heard, and another late surge, but not good enough. It's very similar to the Sacramento game, similar to the Memphis game. I will be watching the Bucks game tonight. I will rewatch it because I did say I would tier 1 dime dropper teams I would stay with even just through the NCAA tournament. But yeah, just not good enough for the Celtics. They need to make a move because, as I said, it's very contingent the way that they play with their no offense kind of like there's no real offense, just pick and roll, take turns with Tatum, Jaylen, and Kemba and Smart and the occasional curl plays and dribble handoffs. It's all contingent on them making shots. And Kemba hasn't been consistent whatsoever. Tatum hasn't been the same since coronavirus, and Jaylen Brown has tailed off as the season's gone on. So big for the Celtics. I'll be looking on the Hawks. I heard they lost today to the Kings. So that's 2 losses in a row for Atlanta after 8 wins in a row. But yeah, I'm just happy about the Clippers doing better, and we'll see. The trade deadlines tomorrow has been a lot of speculation. Let's see what happens. Do we get Lonzo? Do we get George Hill? I want to see a move be made. Was that Lou Williams' last game for the Clippers? Tell me what you guys think. Was it the last game? I don't mind if it is at all, but he's had an impact on this organization, that's for sure. That's it for tonight, guys. I am going to go to the live subscribers now. Super chats are turned on. Very low attendance tonight. As always, whenever the Clippers win, you guys suck. Thank you and peace. Celtics fans, I'll be coming with the review of the Bucks game tomorrow. See if there's anything new or it's just the same old, same old. I expect the latter. Thanks for joining me and peace. What's up, y'all? Intel Wild, I appreciate the money. I do see your comments, buddy. I do see your comments, but man, you guys are very sure that Lou Williams is going, huh? Kawhi has been great lately, yes. Yeah, I don't think there's anything relevant of me to say about Corey Joseph and Delon Wright's trade. Bro, Laker fans need to realize that you guys support the most hated team in the NBA, the history of the NBA. That just comes with the territory of being a winning team and being a team that's gotten very lucky in the past. You have to it comes with the territory. People hate those teams, the arrogant fans, the entitlement. That comes with the territory. You win the most, you take the most heat. That's just how it goes. Yep, that's always been the case with LeBron, Mr. Zeke. Teams look like fish out of water when he doesn't play. Who do I think will get traded? Lou Williams, I think will likely be traded. I really don't know who else we're going to play with. I feel like Zoo could be, but I don't want him to because he's been fantastic, and I think it'd be silly to trade him at this point. Injuries playing an important role. Warriors didn't trade Oubre Wiggins for Lowry Collins. Dang. Stop. When we get Drummond, okay. When we get Drummond, then LeBron and AD come back. Even if we are 7th seed, we strike fear in the second round. Strike fear in the first round. Thank you, Intel Wild. I appreciate you. Celtics are down bad, Collins. Dang, very bad. It's been an atrocious season for them, honestly. Kyle Lowry going to the Heat? We'll see about that. I mean, Tyler Hero's going the other way, I'm guessing, right? Tyler and Duncan? I mean, I don't know. Is Danny Ainge going to be a fool if the Nets win for the Celtics? I mean, what was he? I think he made great trades to get Tatum and Jaylen. I think the Nets just got lucky that Kevin Durant just wanted to go there. And I think, if anything, the Lakers gave him the best thing by getting him D'Angelo. I feel like if they hadn't gotten D'Angelo, maybe he never would have gotten Kyrie and Durant. No, the Clippers didn't confirm Lou Williams is not getting traded. Lowry is the GOAT Raptors. I feel you. What's up, J Love? What's up, Jonah? When did LAC confirm that they won't trade Lou, Kyle? What's up, Edgar? Great win tonight. Thanks. If Heat get Lowry and Aldridge, that makes them the favorite in my eyes, says Andrew M. I don't know about all that. I don't know if that makes them the favorite. Do you think Lowry to Lakers will happen? Who would they trade? THT? If the Raptors expect that, they're on crack. Dime, do you have any finals that I could watch, like old finals? I'm always going to say I recommend 1980. I'm always going to recommend because the whole series is there. But yeah. What are you talking about, Dime? The Lakers sucked for a decade. No, they didn't suck for a decade. You sucked from 2013 to 2018. And honestly, in 2018, you didn't even suck that bad. It was a rebuilding season. It was an improvement. It wasn't that horrible. LeBron in 2019, I mean, bro, he gave up when he came back. Simple as that. You could have made the playoffs if you wanted to. It's okay. You won the next year. He didn't go hard, preserve his body. Probably smart in the long run. So miss me with that bullshit. Trade Kawhi and PG-13 for spin move Siak. Okay. Well, Kyle, Dominic, you about Lou Williams in the bubble, that means you didn't watch him enough, man. He's been a defensive liability since a long time, but 2019, he wasn't too awful, but the whole 2020 season, he was dog shit, man. When I saw him get abused by Ken Bazemore, that's when I knew he was, like, terrible. Fourth quarter of the 1969 finals is on YouTube. That's a solid one. Jerry West tries to put the Lakers on their back at the end of that when Wilt goes out, but thoughts on what Shaq said about WNBA and lowering rims? I don't necessarily like it. I don't think that even with dunking that people are going to choose to watch the women over the men. I just don't know. It's tough, man. It's really tough for the women hoopers. They're such great players and very skilled, and a lot of them know the game, I think, and the ins and outs of it better than the men, and there's less egos involved and all that. So, do you think CP second round fits, Jesus Christ, fits better than CP3 because of the 2-3-1? Okay, whatever. What teams played in those finals? 1980 was Lakers and Sixers, and then 69 was Celtics on Lakers. Who do you want the Clippers to face in order to get past the first round? Dallas or Lakers? Well, not the Lakers. Are you kidding? I'd rather play Dallas again and beat the shit out of them again. Lakers might play Clips in first round. Well, that would be a disaster, but we're just taking it one game at a time. What would LeBron average if he was guarded by Dennis Rodman in a series? I don't know, man. That's a very big hypothetical. I don't know. I don't know what have the Celtics failed to meet expectations? I mean, 2019, but like, what is that? How is that Danny Ainge's fault? I blame Kyrie, man. If you watch that season unfold in Massachusetts, it was like straight. Like, I can describe how bad Kyrie was, but that is not how a leader acts. Like, that's not at all how a leader acts. And they still lost in the second round. It wasn't like a terrible, terrible season, but it was pretty horrible. I just don't think that's Danny Ainge's fault. I think you make the move for Kyrie. You hoped he would be a leader. He wasn't. He's a scorer secondary guy. That's what he is. Or in this case, a tertiary guy. But so Kevin Durant's been on straight cruise control. It's very frustrating. Heat can never beat Lakers. Why do you say that? They beat them this year? Lowry going to the 76ers? Who are they trading? Lowry to the Clips? I don't think we got the assets, Maniac Lane. Jimmy Butler. I can't even dream him holding a Finals MVP. Well, your boy Plumber Jim probably won't win a Finals MVP either. And if he does, it's because he took this sellout route to get there. Half-court buzzer shot. What does that mean, Intel Wild? Does Durant coming back to the Nets make them unbeatable in the playoffs? No, not unbeatable. Especially when they don't play together that much. Kawhi putting on the clamps today, Wilson Santos. He was fantastic, man. He's just been great the last 3 games in general. Game 4, Clips versus OKC is a classic. I was there. Top 5 game I've ever been to. I'd say my 4th best game I've ever been to. It was on a Sunday. The rally towels were out. I still got my white rally towel. It was a great game. Darren Collison, Jamal Crawford were huge. If Kawhi wins this year's chip, do you think that it'll be top 20 all time? I think top 20 all time is subjective again, but I think he could be in a lot of people's. I think he should be, honestly. If he went to the Clippers, I think that's an incredible achievement, something that people thought would never happen. And it would just be incredible for him to do it with Toronto and the Clippers. I mean, anybody that wins the finals and be with the Clippers has an argument to be top 20 in itself. But man, even though he's won with Toronto, I mean, he fully does. He fully does. He's knocking on Havlicek territory, Rick Barry territory with that. Paul Pierce, those guys. Not Larry, not Braun, of course. No way. I think he's knocking on Dr. J territory, seriously. Not impact-wise, but just player-wise in his career in the NBA. Only in his prime, though. Like peak Kawhi, not early Kawhi, not whole career Kawhi. But, yeah. But I don't think he's never going to touch Larry and LeBron to me. But we'll see. Clippers versus Blazers first round. Dame goes off. Blazers in 7. No chance, bro. No. Man, that's Michael George. That's a hater comment to just say no right away about the Kawhi thing. Winning with the Clippers, bro. Do you know how big a deal that is? With Paul George, who nobody thinks is like that dude to help win a championship. Nobody. Let's just put it that way. Nobody. Time. Who do you want the Clippers to land or trade away? I want to trade Lou Williams. I want to get George Hill. Yeah, everything else is just extra and up to the organization. Can't be a top 20 player all time and never try. Well, Kawhi doesn't never try, guys. What's that all about? Clippers win or bust this season. I mean, it was the same last season. I think every year with Kawhi and Paul George in their primes like this is the same. Dime, your thoughts on Harden for MVP? But look what he did to Houston. I agree, but I honestly think he should definitely be the MVP convo just because Kevin Durant has sat out. Kyrie's been out so much. Harden's really, like, he's kind of carried this team in ways through this regular season. So because of the unforeseen events of Kevin Durant not playing at all and Kyrie being wishy-washy, James Harden should absolutely be in the MVP conversation. And quite frankly, as much as I dislike the guy and his playing style and think that he's the epitome of what's wrong with basketball in a lot of ways today, even though he's not the way he's been playing now, but sometimes his foul baiting tactics and the way he played in Houston. But he's been one of the best consistent players year in, year out, especially in the regular season, for a decade now. The fact that he has less MVPs than Giannis is a little bit whack. I think that he deserves to have 2 MVPs, honestly. He's been runner-up 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. 2019, 2017, and 2015. So 3 times. Who are the teams do you think that can actually beat the Nets? I think that the Sixers have a chance fully healthy. I think the Miami Heat have a chance because they're smarts. But I think that the Heat may need to move. I don't think they're going to win with this team the way Hero and Robinson are playing, and Dragic has been out a lot. Not the Celtics. In the East, that's about it. And then Lakers, I think Clippers have a small chance, but our matchup with them isn't good. And then probably just the Lakers, honestly, in the East. I mean, in the West. Until Jerry West, half-court shot in the finals at the buzzer. And surprisingly, they still didn't win that game, even with that momentum going their way. Bro, I miss Collison on the Clips, says Wilson Santos. So do I. I love DC. I loved him in college, 4-year UCLA player. Claudio Ferri, love this channel, man. Love you, bro. Andrew M, MVP race. You love Jokic. I'd like Jokic too, though. Jokic, Dame, Giannis. Dame over Harden? Debatable. But, okay, I feel you with the Jokic. I was at Game 3, Clippers versus Grizzlies. 2012? Because I was at Game 4. People have expected Kawhi to win with the Clippers. Yeah, but did you see how hard it is, though? Did you see how hard it is last year? The people let me tell you this, though. You Laker fans haven't, though. You don't give Paul George you know what Paul George is, and you know his mental blocks in the playoffs at times, ever since the last couple of years. So don't act like you guys expect them to win. You said the Lakers were going to win. We failed, but people like you said the Lakers were going to win the championship last year. So you don't necessarily expect Kawhi to win. That's the expectation that's been placed on him because of what he did in Toronto. But last year, though, Kawhi failed. We didn't get a chance to say, Kawhi needed help. But Paul George did not bail him out. LeBron did not play well in Game 2 of the conference finals against Denver. And that series could have been 1-1, could have really changed that series. I'm not saying the Nuggets would have won. And Anthony Davis was literally taking over the game at the end and made a game-winning three. And if he had missed that shot, 1-1 series, it could be a little further. Paul George didn't have that with Kawhi. Like Kawhi, he didn't have the opportunity to have a bad game, and then somebody played well for him. So I think that's because people expect a lot from Kawhi. People expected Kawhi to win with the Clippers last year. No one's expecting us to win the championship this year. Nobody. They're like, oh, we have a chance, but I don't see it. So let's not downplay this stuff because you hate the Clippers. No, Dr. J is the man. I love Dr. J, man. UMass Minuteman alumni. Diamond Dropper, I saw you tweeted you played basketball. It was good. It was good. Jumper wasn't too rusty. Handle not bad. Reflex is a little slow since I haven't played in a minute. Got to get, back on the court a bit more. What's your favorite game ever watched? Oh, well, that's got to be Game 7 that I was at with Clippers and Spurs. I mean, got to be. Do you think PG is a Hall of Famer right now? Says Jonah Kim. Nah. Needs a little more winning in that resume. Is Draymond a top 25 defender of all time? Yes, I believe he is. How is that hater comment? Come on, bro. Kawhi was expected to win last season with y'all. It wouldn't have been a shock to the world if y'all won last season. It would have been a shock to me because we're the fucking Clippers. And no matter what you want to say, we're the Clippers. And people like you and your fan base think that we're never going to win a championship because we're the Clippers, no matter who we have. And at the same time, Kawhi was expected to win by the media, who you Laker fans clowned for overrating us. So there you go. Do you think Chauncey Billups should be in the Hall of Fame? No fucking question. Not even a question. Game 7, Lakers Celtics 2010 is a good one. Even though Celtics fans bitch about the refs, but that's a good one. Great game. Great game. All-time classic. If we can't get Hill, who do you want else to get? Somebody that can take guys off the dribble. I don't know who that is, but if we can just take Lou out, I just don't like the Lou in the rotation over Kennard. I think if we just switched that, started Zoo, put Ibaka off the bench, we have a good chance to go far. It's all about if Kawhi and Paul George perform. Steph game winner against OKC in a regular season game. Pistons Spurs game 7. I actually never watched that game. I'll get there eventually. I had messaged Flight Hernandez. He didn't answer. Why is KD over Kawhi? He's never taken a team to a ring on his own. I agree. And once again, subjective. If you think Kawhi is better, that's fair. I think that's totally fair. I think that KD gets the benefit because he was so good right off the bat, like a prodigy talent, and he's a one-of-one kind of talent, whereas we've seen Kawhi kinds of players, but it's because of that ability. I personally, if I had to rank my all-time, Kawhi, because of what he did with Toronto. But yeah. Jerry West, the top 20 NBA player. Change my mind. I fuck with it. Where do you usually sit during Clipper games? Near the court? Not really. Not really. 200s usually. High behind the basket 100s, and then sometimes nosebleeds in the playoffs. Michael George, I agree with your comment about the media, and I think that a lot of that was just hating. Well, I don't know. It could be a couple of two things. One, the media, there's media loves LeBron, but the media doesn't. It seems like a lot of guys don't like the Lakers. I think it's because they've won their whole lives and they're jealous and they wanted to play up the underdog Clippers story because it's like a great story because we're the Clippers. And, we've always been in the shadow of the Lakers, and the Lakers have been the best franchise. We've been the worst franchise. And I think they wanted to play up that rivalry. But I also think there's a chance they just dumbed it down and made the Lakers seem worse than they actually are to prop up LeBron. Dead ass. I mean, some of the stuff that is the NBA getting better that Colin Botherd said was just straight up ridiculousness to prop LeBron up and make it seem like he was doing the unthinkable. I think people need to underestimate what Anthony Davis and LeBron together could do. I considered him a championship contender the second I heard AD was coming. I never underestimated Anthony Davis's ability. Thanks, Intel Wild. I appreciate you. Thank you, Maniac Lane, for the shout out. Draymond is a top 15 defender ever. I got Bill Russell and Hakeem Olajuwon, greatest defenders ever. Good job, Jonah Kim. I think PG was probably just an LA basketball fan. I don't think he was like a Clipper exclusive fan. And I think that that's where like people like, want to come at him. Okay, Bill Russell's a beast. Yeah, still can't believe Nick Batum lives less than a block away from my house, Seth. That was cool. You got Turk top 20 of your dime? I haven't made a list, Jonah. I've told you this. Since you said Draymond is top 25, is he top 10? I don't think so, but once again, haven't watched every defender play at extensive length, so I can't answer that, man. Most underrated and overrated Clipper of all time. Overrated, DeAndre Jordan. Total stat pattern at the end of his tenure, in my opinion. Actually, not my opinion. It's a fact. Sorry, I don't care what anyone says. Underrated. I think Chris Kaman maybe now. I think Kaman's been pretty underrated. Quentin Ross, he was big time in the 06 playoffs. I think he's underrated. But those are some right off the top of my head. Ron Harper. People don't talk about him enough on the Clippers. So I think those are some right there. KD is the greatest pure scorer ever. Don't disagree. I think he may be the most unguardable player ever. No, because in my opinion, mentality affects scoring too. Mentality affects everything. So, I don't know. I think KD, maybe it comes the easiest to him. Let's put it that way. Maybe it comes the easiest to him. But Jordan, would you rather have prime Lowry or Westbrook if you're trying to win a title? As crazy as this sounds, man, I'm going to have to go Lowry if I want to win a title because he won a title. However, Westbrook's never been the third best player on his team in his entire career, so I've never seen how that worked. I think Lowry's better than Siakam, but in that playoff run, Siakam was the second best player. Maybe not the second most important, but he was the second best player in that run. KD has been a top 5 NBA player for a long time. That is true. Kobe's up there. Would you like Clippers to pursue Devontae Graham? Don't think he does anything for us. I like Devontae. Don't think he does anything for us. If Paul George didn't get injured, how do you think his career would have played out? I don't think it would have been that much different than now. Maybe he wouldn't have had as many confidence issues, but who knows? Yes, Houston versus Portland in 2009 with Brandon Roy was a good series. Roy was fantastic. He was incredible. Colin Coward. I apologize, Mr. Zeke. Well, I don't know who you're talking to, Andrew. I'm about Kawhi fans, but people don't need to stop dick-sucking Kawhi because too many people bag on him for beating a team that was basically still a championship team when Klay missed like a game in the fourth quarter. Nah, Kawhi was incredible in that whole run. Stop hating, especially in that Sixers series. And I don't even like Kawhi like that. You know this, but he was. And aren't you a Raptors fan? I didn't say Chris Broussard tonight, so I don't know where you're getting that from. But again, these guys bought into the defensive hype of Kawhi and Paul George reputation, not talking about how frequently they actually play defense. The media's a bunch of casuals, man. I don't know what to tell you, but the media's a bunch of casuals. Greatest Clipper all time is Blake Griffin or Chris Paul. I'd have to say Blake Griffin because he never wanted to leave and he was drafted by the Clippers, but Chris Paul really changed the culture. What's Golden State's seeding after the season? I had them finishing 7th before the season, but it's looking like without Curry, this stretch without Curry is very tough because they need him. They can't win without him. So I think that they could easily finish 9th now and San Antonio finishes 8th, but I hope that San Antonio gets booted out and Golden State finishes in the top 8. So then the top 8 that I predicted is the top 8. KD got damn near no post game to be 7 feet. I agree. He just has that one-legged turn. I mean, he has nice turnarounds and that just doesn't go to it enough. I know I disagree with Charles big time. And Shaq and Kenny came at him for that comment about James Harden being a better scorer than Kobe. He said it's because he shoots threes better. But Kenny said the same thing. I would say that wasn't the style. And Shaq said it himself. So one thing makes him better. Yes, he has a better face-up ISO package, but he over dribbles and foul baits like crazy and doesn't have to play with hand checking consistently like they did. So, yeah, he's not even on their stratosphere, bro. He's not on the stratosphere. No, everybody that really knows basketball on a high level, and nobody that doesn't post up to me can't be better than the guys that face up and post up at a high level. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are the epitome of that. So, best ISO player in the NBA, I'd still say Harden in today's game. Harden or Kyrie, but I'd say Kevin Durant's pretty damn good too. Lowry is washed. I disagree with that. He's declining. Who's taking the last shot? Larry Bird or Kobe? Probably Bird because he's 6'9", and he's a better shooter. Cassell is underrated. I love Sam. Aaron Holiday to the Clips. I'd be down for that. He can break people down off the dribble. Do you think Siakam got kind of overrated after the 2019 championship? He did, and I'm guilty of it. I did overrate him a little bit, but he had a great season last year. But I think teams are starting to zero in on him more. Mr. Zeke, I don't think that's, I think what you're saying is true, but I think both things are true. Kobe definitely idolized Jordan. Definitely. I think he said this, man. He wanted to be Jordan. I think he liked Magic because he was a Laker fan, but he definitely wanted to be Jordan. And all his mannerisms suggest it. And all the things, like his motions, his body movement, everything is like that. I missed 2019, to be honest. That's the last time I didn't hate the league. I agree with your statement about injuries in the finals, Jonah Kim. It's happened in so many different years. We did Blake dirty, man. Hey, Andrew M., I know that's my favorite player, Chris Paul, but I completely agree. I think that Chris Paul is very overrated, especially by the Gen Z bots when it comes to all-time point guards. Do you think Dame's legacy is worse if he sticks with the Blazers? No. Hornets CP3 was so good in 07. You mean 08? That was his best individual season, but like besides that, what did he really do in New Orleans? Like he did a good job. He got him to the first round, but not much else. I mean, he was great every year until he got traded, but 2010 he was injured and he started having injury problems before he came to the Clippers. I think that's been the most impressive part about Chris Paul is that he stayed healthy these last 2 years, more than 2019, 18, and 17. Like, that's just crazy. And 16 because he got hurt in the playoffs. Who's your MVP since LeBron and Joel are out? I'm saying Joker, Harden, or Giannis, but if Kawhi keeps playing like this, he's right behind. How about Van Vliet? Overrated or underrated, even after the 2019 championship? Rated properly. I love Freddie V. I love Terrence Mann, Dime, from FSU. Of course. I love Terrence Mann, too. And, man, he didn't really like Michael Jordan, but it seems like he learned a lot from him and wanted to be him. Do you think people are starting to F you? What? J Love, I feel you on that, but I also think that Chris Paul has played in an era that's much easier to get assists last couple of years, not before. Last 5 years. And I also think that because of the modern, like, for example, if he had that injury that he had in 2010 in other eras, he probably wouldn't have been able to, play as long. And I'm not saying it's a knock. I'm just saying it depends if you value longevity or not. But he's had advantages with the longevity category. All the players from this era have advantages in the longevity category. That's why I think peak for peak is probably more fair to judge. But, I mean, CP3's that's my boy, so I'm not going to argue too much. Do you think people are starting to figure out Giannis? I absolutely do, but I think Giannis has improved, and he's improving, and he's very hungry, which I love. I think tomorrow the trades are going to pop off Jeremiah. If Man was here, what questions would you ask him? I'd ask him what's his key to getting over screens so well. I'd ask him how important confidence is as a basketball player at any level, especially that level. I'd ask him, what have you noticed as you started to get more playing time? I'd ask you, what was the exact reaction after you guys lost last year? And a couple questions like that. And ask him about his basketball history. I don't really have too many curious questions for Terrence. He hasn't played that long. But that's about it. But anyway, guys, I think that's it for tonight. 40 minutes is great length. Thanks for joining me, the diehards here tonight. We'll be back. I don't know about tomorrow, maybe. But no lag tonight, guys. Everybody give a shout out to the no lag. Let's give a clap to no lag tonight, guys. Let's give a clap. I agree. Longevity is a little overrated to me, only because these players have distinct advantages. But back in the day, if like you're Kareem and you play 20 years, like that's crazy to me. Ron Artest greater than Ben Simmons. I agree with that on the defensive end or in general. I was the only kid in the neighborhood who rooted for the Clippers and Lakers in the early 90s. It amazed me how everybody else rooted for a team. They never even went to Chicago. Facts, bro. My uncle told me that too about bandwagon Bulls fans. Thank you, Kyle Dominic. I appreciate you. No lag. Watch the next stream. I've hella lag. We'll see about that. All right, gentlemen. Peace out. Go Clips. 3 in a row. Let's get it.